In June of last year, the delegation that I was a part of with Judge Mukasey went to Paris and met with Martin Kobler and his designees. And we worked out a 10-point agreement that had to be met so that the people would move. And Martin Kobler assured us that they would be safer at concentration camp Liberty than at Ashraf, because it would be right near Baghdad, it would be right near the airport. I put up a picture before, if you could put it up again. I want you to look at where this is. This concentration camp Liberty is a small part of what used to be a much bigger Camp Liberty when we were there. It's in the middle of that area you see outlined in red. It's just a small little part. The rest of that area is a military encampment made up of the Iraqi military. And then right beyond it, right below where that water is, right beyond that water is the airport. So Martin Kobler made the point that this is a very secure place to be. You're basically on a military base. You're in the middle of a military base, surrounded by the Iraqi military. And you're in an area that the Iraqis keep very secure because the airport and the military is there, and there are cameras all over the place. So this will be a safe place for them to go. Safer than Ashraf. He assured us of that. He assured us of that even though the facilities looked horrible, they looked awful. And he promised us that those facilities would be fixed. He promised us that there would be water. He promised us that there'd be electricity. He promised us many, many things. And the most important thing he promised us was they'd be moved out of there very, very quickly. That they would expedite the process of finding countries for all these people to go. Every single thing I said to you, Martin Kobler has reneged on. I believe every single thing he said to us in June was a complete, absolute lie. Because he has proven himself to be a professional liar, which is unfortunate. I believe there's no choice with Martin Kobler, that if the United Nations wants to do the right thing, he should be removed immediately. He is doing the dirty work of the Iraqi and Iranian governments. He is not doing the work of the United Nations. He's not doing the work of trying to protect people who are in a vulnerable status. These people should all be declared immediately refugees. They should be all given refugee status. If they're not refugees, then what exactly is a refugee? And I believe that my government, that promised them protection way back in 2003, that my government that promised them that they would be safe when they were exerting great pressure to move from Ashraf to concentration camp Liberty, I believe my government owes a great debt to these people. And there's only one way to vindicate that debt. And that is, and I said this a week and a half ago, and I say it again, just takes a couple of airplanes. You send them there, you put them on the airplanes, and you bring them to the United States of America. And here in the United States of America, we shouldn't do this just for them. We should do this to keep our word. We should do this. We should do this to keep our word that we would protect them if they gave up their arms. We should do this because we should keep our word that they were going to be safer at Camp Liberty than they were at Camp Ashraf. The Iraqi government has now announced, by the way, that they can't keep people safe at Camp Liberty. It's not possible. They can't assure their safety. Well, I mean, if we need any other indication that we have to remove them in order to fulfill our promise to protect them, the Iraqi government has now told us they can't protect them at Camp Liberty. What does that tell you? The Iraqi government knows that there are going to be more attacks. And before there are more attacks, these people should be removed to the United States. I do not understand why that's difficult. I don't understand why that's complicated. 3,000 plus people are a small number of people. And if for some reason we can't find it in our hearts, and we don't believe that our honor and our word is worth it to redeem it, if we don't believe that it's necessary to do that, then at least they should be immediately moved to Camp Ashraf, where they can do a better job of taking care of themselves. If we're not going to keep our word, if we're not going to take care of them, at least give them the best opportunity to protect themselves in a place that they built, in a place that at least will be harder to lob mortars in from the outside, a place that you have to invade in order to harm them. And this attack could not have taken place without the cooperation of the Iraqi military. I showed you that camp because I wanted to show you that the small place that they're in is surrounded by the Iraqi military. This would be like attacking the middle of Camp Pendleton in California, the Marine base in California, and the Marines not knowing about it. I mean, this was a short distance away, in a highly secure area, in an area that's kept highly secure by the Iraqi army. So the Iraqi government had to have known about this, had to have tolerated it, maybe even participated in it, as they participated in the prior slaughter of some of these people. So they should be moved to Ashraf at a minimum. I believe they should be removed to the United States. Now, why is this so important? It's so important because when the United States gives its word, it should mean something. If the United States wants to be honored and respected in the world, we can't give our word to people, whether it's 1, 3,000, or millions, and not take seriously the fact that we have to keep our word. And second, it would be really, really important to change the dynamics of our relationship with Iran. We all know that Iran is on its way, if it isn't already, a nuclear power. At best, it's months away. We have tried everything through 2 administrations to stop them. The Bush administration and now the Obama administration. Over the last year or two, the sanctions have grown. The sanctions have become more intense. Yet just a week ago, there was an article in the New York Times that pointed out that although the sanctions were having a big impact on the economy of Iran, they were having no impact at all on the government. No impact at all on the Ayatollah. No discernible change in position. No real sense that even if we increased those sanctions by several-fold, they would have much of an impact. Not only that, but as long as China, which is exempt from the sanctions, and Russia, that's exempt from the sanctions, as long as they can trade with Iran, Iran can get by. There are so many exceptions to even these harsh sanctions. Yes, it has an impact. On the other hand, this is a government that is operating on suppression, oppression. They're not going to be moved by our sanctions. So we can have more sanctions if we want. They're just going to move ahead and become a nuclear power. The sanctions haven't worked. They're not going to work. You have to be a fool to think the sanctions will work. Second possibility is maybe we can negotiate with them. Well, frankly, the President of the United States has been begging them to negotiate with him for 4 years now. The answer has been no, 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 no. Just recently, the President asked to have bilateral negotiations with Iran, and Iran turned him down. I don't know how often you have to be told no to figure out the answer is no. They're not going to negotiate with us. They want to have multilateral negotiations, not bilateral negotiations. And why do they want multilateral negotiations? So that Russia and China can help to delay things, to obfuscate, to avoid having to make an agreement, because all the while they're buying time. They're buying time